The Bold and the Beautiful. Baptism turns deadly as Luna collapses. Forensics reveal poisoning. Spencer family shaken to the core in what was supposed to be a discreet, solemn, and symbolic occasion for new beginnings. The Bold and the Beautiful delivered a harrowing twist that left the entire Spencer estate in shock, and the Forrester and Finnegan families reeling. What began as a quiet baptism inside the private walls of the Spencer mansion ended with Luna Nozawa unconscious on the floor, gasping for breath in front of horrified onlookers. But it wasn't a random medical episode. It was poison, and someone inside that house wanted her dead. Sources confirm that Luna Nozawa collapsed mere minutes before the baptismal rites were to begin. Paramedics rushed in, chaos erupted, and the entire event was shut down within seconds. The tranquil atmosphere vanished. The baby, wrapped in traditional white linens, was rushed out by Bridget Forrester as the adults scrambled to understand what had just happened. But the real shock came 2 days later, when the toxicology report landed on Deputy Chief Baker's desk. Digitalis. A slow, calculated poison. Not administered in one dose, but built up over time, likely in microdoses, fed to Luna subtly over several days, maybe even a week or more. Someone was counting on her heart giving out silently, but they miscalculated the timing. She collapsed too soon, and now the truth is unraveling. The baptism turned into a crime scene. Security footage was quickly confiscated. Staff and guests were questioned. Everyone was on edge, but there was one detail that immediately raised eyebrows. Will Spencer had been the last person to hand Luna a bottle of water just moments before the ceremony. The bottle was confiscated, tested, and confirmed to contain traces of the same compound found in Luna's system. Suddenly, the sweet-faced, recently traumatized Spencer heir found himself at the center of a potential murder investigation. And it didn't help that whispers about his past with Luna had already started to resurface. Rumors quickly began to swirl, not just about the poisoning, but about the nature of Will's relationship with Luna prior to her arrest. Luna, in her darkest period, isolated and emotionally unstable, had reportedly reconnected with Will in secret. Despite the trauma he endured, despite the court cases, the paternity scandal, and the overwhelming public scrutiny, there had been a period of silence, just long enough for mistakes to be made and boundaries to blur. Sources close to the Spencer estate have confirmed the existence of at least one piece of security footage from the garage, one clip showing Luna and Will in a compromising position. A kiss, quick, heated, and very much captured on Spencer property surveillance. A kiss that, if released, would shatter any sense of redemption Will had been working to rebuild. It would break Katie. It would enrage Bill. And now, with Luna lying in a hospital bed and the world pointing fingers, that single kiss has become a time bomb. Will knows the footage exists. He's been living in fear of it leaking. And in the hours following Luna's collapse, he refused to speak without legal counsel. To Ridge, to Katie, to Bill, to the police, everyone assumed guilt. He was the last person with the bottle. The boy who once suffered under Luna's manipulation now looked like he might be her would-be killer. But nothing in The Bold and the Beautiful is ever that simple. Because while Will panicked, desperate to keep his secrets buried, another truth quietly surfaced. It wasn't Will who poisoned Luna. It was Lee Finnegan. The revelation dropped like a bomb. According to investigators, further analysis of the Spencer home's internal surveillance, specifically the back hallway near the kitchen, captured Lee entering the prep room where the water bottles had been chilled and arranged on a tray for the baptismal guests. This footage, timestamped 20 minutes before Will picked up the bottle, shows Lee alone, glove in hand, hovering over the drink station. What she did next was partially obscured, but long enough for her to have done the unthinkable. Lee, once the steady matriarchal presence in Finn's life, once the voice of reason in a sea of chaos, now revealed as a woman unraveling under the weight of rage. Her vendetta had been quiet, cold, and growing steadily since Luna resurfaced. Luna's return meant more than headlines and chaos, it meant the collapse of everything Lee built. Her credibility as a doctor was questioned. Her relationships destroyed. Her license under review. Her family torn apart. And in her mind, Luna was the reason. This wasn't about justice. It was about revenge. Lee believed Luna destroyed the Finnegan family. And she wanted Luna erased. Slowly, silently, without a public scandal. A few drops of digitalis a day, masked in water, administered without confrontation. She didn't count on Luna collapsing early. She didn't count on the water bottle being traced. And she definitely didn't count on her own adopted grandson being caught in the fallout. Because by the time Luna hit the floor, the damage was already done. Will, in a tragic twist of timing, became the last person seen near Luna. The footage of the kiss hadn't been leaked, but it had been seen by security staff. Speculation had turned into accusation. Will's entire future, already haunted by trauma, now risked being defined by a crime he never committed. Lee's decision made Will a pawn in her war. The family splintered instantly. Katie confronted her son in disbelief, torn between maternal instinct and horror at what the media was implying. Bill, already a volcano waiting to erupt, threatened to destroy the security team if the footage got out and vowed to sue anyone who leaked Luna's medical information. Ridge demanded answers. Finn locked himself in a hospital room, unable to reconcile the fact that his mother, a woman who once faked Luna's death, had now tried to engineer her real one. And Luna? She's alive but barely. Stabilized, monitored, sedated. Doctors are unsure about the long-term impact on her pregnancy. The child's condition remains unclear. The emotional damage is incalculable. The betrayal, the isolation, the spiral, all culminating in a crime she never saw coming. The woman who'd manipulated so many is now at the mercy of everyone she hurt. But she may also hold the key to saving Will. If she wakes and tells the truth. If she remembers the water. If she defends Will, it could clear his name. But if she doesn't, if her memory is fractured or if she believes he was involved, the entire Spencer legacy could crumble under the weight of scandal. Lee has not confessed. Not yet. She's under investigation. No charges filed, yet. But Ridge has already cut ties. Finn has stopped returning her calls. Sheila Carter, of all people, is reportedly mocking her downfall from the sidelines. The woman who tried to protect her son from lies and evil has now become the liar. The danger, the poison, and the bottle wasn't the only thing she tainted. There's a fragile hope that this tragedy could do something unexpected. Pull Bill and Katie back together. Beatty, once fractured beyond repair, is now united by one cause. Protect the child, shield Will, and keep Luna far away forever. Katie, shaken but resolute, has already announced her intent to pursue full custody of Luna's baby once it's born. Bill agrees. They'll use their power, their wealth, their legal muscle to ensure that Luna never gets near that child again. It's the kind of shared mission that forges old bonds anew. Katie may not trust Bill completely, but she knows she can't do this alone. And Bill, for all his fury, has always protected his own. In the ashes of betrayal and violence, maybe something resembling unity can emerge. Maybe Beatty gets another shot. But nothing is certain. Not the baby's future. Not Luna's. Not Will's. Not Lee's freedom. The Spencer mansion is now a battlefield. And the war has only just begun. Because on the bold and the beautiful, even a baptism can end in betrayal. Even water can carry poison. And even the purest intentions can kill. The bold and the beautiful. Courtroom chaos. Murder mystery. And a new villain emerges as Will faces the fight of his life. The courtroom was packed. Every seat filled. The cameras were barred, but the whispers flowed like wildfire. The Bold and the Beautiful delivered one of its most sensational arcs to date when the trial of Will Spencer finally reached its boiling point, captivating Los Angeles and threatening to tear the Spencer family apart. The death of Luna Nozawa, already mired in scandal and controversy, now found itself center stage in the most publicized murder trial in recent B&B history. And standing at the center of the storm, as the prime suspect, was none other than Will Spencer. What began as tragedy spiraled into accusation. Luna, dead, poisoned, found with a fatal dose of digitalis in her bloodstream and a syringe discovered near the back of the Spencer property. Will, last seen arguing with her. Will, caught on security footage in the parking lot, moments before Luna's fatal collapse. Will, whose fingerprints were recovered from the syringe that delivered the final dose. Will, the heir apparent, already tainted by rumors of a secret, possibly rekindled affair with the very woman who once manipulated and violated him. The narrative was clear. Will Spencer snapped. He saw no way out. Luna's pregnancy, the secret garage footage, the looming scandal, it was too much. He killed her to protect his future. At least, that's what the prosecution said. District Attorney Raines stood before the jury with a surgical timeline. They played the security camera footage on repeat, showed the parking garage angle, the one where Luna and Will were captured in a heated argument days before her collapse. They submitted the audio file recovered from Luna's burner phone. A tense confrontation. Will's voice rising as he begged her to stay quiet, to not ruin everything. Then came the syringe. Fingerprints lifted directly from the barrel. A single print. His right index. Just like that, the narrative cemented in the public's mind. Will Spencer killed Luna Nozawa. Media outlets spun it ruthlessly. Online forums exploded. Polls called it 50-50. Half the city cried out for justice. The other half clung to doubt. But inside that courtroom, Will sat paralyzed, facing life in prison for a crime he didn't commit. The motive was plausible. Will feared exposure. He didn't want the video of their garage kiss to go viral. He didn't want to lose Electra Forrester. He didn't want Katie to fall apart. And more than anything, he didn't want Bill, his father, his judge, his role model, to see him as weak again. Not after surviving what Luna did to him the first time. And yet something felt off. The defense, led by Carter Walton, knew there was more beneath the surface. There were cracks in the evidence. And it all began with the audio. Carter brought in a forensic audio engineer, an expert in waveform continuity and spectral signature mapping. Under cross-examination, the engineer dismantled the state's primary evidence. The recording, he testified, was edited. The gain was inconsistent. Background noise was abruptly clipped. Frequencies shifted unnaturally. The voice sample attributed to Will was spliced together using two different moments in time. It's not a continuous argument, the expert said. It's a fabricated one. The courtroom gasped. The jury leaned in. Next came the fingerprint evidence. The prosecution's golden piece. Enter Drive. Lillian Mays, a forensic chemist specializing in trace residue and surface analysis. She asked the court to re-examine the syringe using electron microscopy. The result? The print wasn't deposited through touch. It was transferred, artificially applied using powdered graphite and pressure techniques. In layman's terms, someone planted Will's fingerprint. Purposefully, deliberately, with malice. Shock rippled through the court. So if Will didn't kill Luna, who did? The answer came swiftly. A quiet night nurse, Beverly Trask, mid-30s, recently hired at the private recovery wing where Luna had briefly been treated prior to her fatal collapse. No criminal record, no red flags, just another face in the background. But when Carter cross-referenced her financials, something snapped into place. Large deposits, anonymous, offshore-sourced, timed perfectly with Luna's death. Carter subpoenaed her phone records. Text messages deleted, but recoverable. One, in particular, said it all, job done. No witnesses. He'll take the fall. It was cold, clinical, professional. Beverly Trask wasn't acting on impulse. She was a contract killer in Scrubs. But the bigger question, the one everyone asked once the revelation dropped, was this: who hired her? That answer didn't come in court. It arrived at Bill Spencer's door. A letter. Hand-delivered. No return address. No fingerprints. Just a single line of handwriting on Spencer Publications stationery. The kind used in high-level boardrooms only. The first payment is your son's pain. The next will cost you everything. L. No name. No signature. Just the initial, L. Luke. The shadowy name no one had heard before. But Bill knew. Somehow, in that instant, he knew. The man he'd pushed out of a deal a decade ago. The investor who lost billions in an oil merger Bill executed and then buried. The one he thought would never resurface. Luke Adams, a phantom from the past, forgotten and discarded, until now. He wasn't just back. He was orchestrating destruction from behind the curtain. Bill immediately moved to secure his family. Doubled security. Pulled Will from the public eye. Hired private investigators. But Luke had already proven he didn't need to show his face to strike. He'd taken down Luna, nearly destroyed Will, and now he was promising escalation. Will was cleared of all charges. The jury, unanimous in its decision, declared him innocent. He walked free, but he wasn't truly free. His name was cleared, but his heart wasn't. Luna's death, his connection to her, the guilt over what could have happened, none of that disappeared. And now, his family was under siege by a threat they couldn't see. Katie, shaken to the core, stood beside her son during the verdict. She hugged him, sobbed quietly, but her mind was elsewhere, calculating how to protect him going forward. Bill, stone-faced, absorbed the message from Luke, vowing revenge. And Ridge? Watching from the gallery, arms crossed, eyes sharp, he knew the war had only just begun. There would be no peace. Luke's letter wasn't a warning. It was a declaration. And now the clock is ticking. What will Luke strike next? Is Will truly safe? Will Bill retaliate, bringing more fire into an already burning battlefield? Can the Forresters and Spencers unite against a common enemy? Or will this new shadow pull them apart? One trial is over. One son saved. But on the bold and the beautiful, justice is never the end. It's